Right, welcome back to the show. If you just joined us, this is Good Morning Ghana Live on Metro TV, and it's time to have our conversation about Ghana's natural resources, especially minerals, with the Minerals Commission. And as usual, as always, the CEO, Mr. Martin Ayisi, is here with us on the show. Good morning, Martin.
Morning, Randy.
Okay. I'm sure a lot of CSOs will be glued to their sets now because we're going to deal with an issue that as controversial as any other issue you can find. And this is an age-long matter, and it has to do with mining in forest reserves. Now, what do you see? A forest reserve is reserved. Why shouldn't it remain reserved?
Randy, good morning.
Yes.
And good morning to our listeners and viewers. I couldn't make it last week because I was in a program. I've spoken to the executive director of Forestry. You know, Forestry, they have a division. Same like Mincom. We have Inspectorate Division. So like Wildlife Division, they have Forestry Services Division. So I spoke to Mr. Brown. He's executive director for Forestry Services Division. I got some data from him this morning, which I'll make public. I've agreed that next week, Thursday, I'll not be around, but he comes with the person in charge of Wildlife Division and also throw more light on their perspectives. I will handle the mining bit, but then I got some detailed information from them as to the real situation on the ground. Ronnie, let me start by saying this. It's important we get, let me begin this way. People have strong views that we shouldn't mine in for. It's everywhere. You go to Australia and there's a place called the Great Barrier Reef. And I remember the struggle between environmentalists and then Australian government, the province of Queensland. Fortunately, I was there because then I started my PhD in University of Queensland. I didn't finish though. And this coal mine, you know, Carmichael, you know, it was a big issue. And I hear the environmental permitting process took almost about 10 years, just because of the protection of this coral reef, or the so-called Great Barrier Reef. Randy, I took some data for Forestry Commission, and myself, I was shocked this morning to know the various differences. So I want to read out that one first, so that we set the scene for our discussion. Then I'll tell you what I think from the mining perspective. Then I'll also share my personal views. It's always important you distinguish between your personal views and that of government. So according to the Forestry Commission, the data I got from the Forestry Commission, there are 266 forest reserves. And there are 22 proposed forest reserves. In other words, they are going through the process. The 266 I talked about, or I indicated, were set up under CAP 157. That is 1927. 1927. So if you like, put together, you can say 288 forest reserves. Only for me to realize that there are also other categorizations. So the forestry people tell me we have wildlife protected areas 21. Wildlife protected areas 21. So Randy, let me repeat. There are 266 forest reserves under CAP 157. That is the Forestry Act of 1927. Then we have proposed forest reserves of 22. So if we put that together, that's about 288. Then I have just been informed that we have 21 wildlife protected areas. Now, under the wildlife protected areas, 21, we have 7 national parks. So it tells you that there's a difference between a national park and a forest reserve. They will come here next week and go into detail. So I'm repeating. Forest reserves 266 gazetted properly under the law, Cap 157. Proposed forest reserve 22. So if you like, we can put the two together and see there are roughly about 288 forest reserves. Then we are told we have 21 wildlife protected areas. And under that, this is a breakdown. 7 national parks. So for example, Kakum. So you see, Kakum is not a forest reserve. So Kakum does not fall under the 288. It falls under the wildlife protected areas. And Kakum is 1 out of the 7. Then they said they have 6 resource reserves. So for example, Shire Hills, where you could go and hunt for game, trophy, those ones, they breed some animals, etc. He took his time to explain to me. If you want to ask too many technical questions, I'll bring them next week. And then you have 1 street nature reserve. I'm told there's one called Kojai in Ashanti. That's the one that he says, even if a leaf falls down, pass by. We have the forestry guards there, they are well armed, very well armed. Okay? Then you also have the some of the Ramsar sites. So 7 national parks, 6 forest reserves, 2 wildlife sanctuaries, 1 street nature reserve, that's a Kojai. An example of the wildlife sanctuary is Bonfobiri. I think it's in Ashanti. Kojai is also in Ashanti. Then wetlands are about 5. They've given me the fine details. So together, that gives you 21 wildlife protected areas. So as far as forestry is concerned, I got this data from them. There's a difference between what is forest reserve and wildlife protected areas. So, for instance, Kakum is not a forest reserve. It's classified as a wildlife protected area. And what the forestry boss told me is that, you see these 21 I've listed. 7 national parks, 6 resource reserve, 2 wildlife sanctuaries, 1 street nature reserve, it's only Kojai, and the wetlands. These are no-go areas. Under no circumstance will any mining be allowed whatsoever. So, for instance, he tells me some of the wetlands. If Europe is cold and you find some of the birds, they are here, either spawning, to migrate and all those things. So, you see, before I go into the details, this is what I was talking about, I think about 2-3 weeks ago, when I was telling you that for me, okay, perhaps I'll start the discussion now. For me, what is important is that based on this forestry data, okay, we can now say that the wildlife protected areas, which are 21, these are no-go areas, end of story, full stop. We sign off. In fact, right now as they speak, they said these areas, there's no way to allow anything. Let's come to the 288. You see, Randy, I just got educated this morning. The difference between a forest reserve and a wildlife protected area. So it sits very well into the argument I've been making all along. So the problem is the 288, 266, which is gazetted. Now, then I asked him the question, how many of the 266, or if you like 288, has been, if you like, so-called affected by these mining activities? Then he says 38.
38 of
38
the 288.
Of the 288. Out of the 288, 266 is gazetted. That is, the law has made it so. The 22, they are still going through the rigor of the law. You understand that? But once they have identified them, they are kind of protecting them. Then, out of that, 38 is what they have documented as having some kind of mining taking place. Now, I am being told, and I've been advised by Forestry, that the 38 also they've identified as mining activities taking place there has to do with illegal mining. I'm explaining the issue.
So 38 or a forest reserve.
So basically, yes, it's what has been documented by Forestry Commission. This data comes from them as having been kind of affected by mining activities. And now I'm being told this 38 is essentially illegal mining activities. In other words, activities or mining operations that have taken place there, and those people or persons that are engaged in those activities in the so-called 38 do not have the requisite authorizations, permits, approvals, however you want to describe it, to do what they are doing.
But they are mining.
Well, this is the data I got, okay?
But is your commission aware of this?
Hang on. No, we are only aware of areas that have been lawfully permitted. So, Rani, it tells you that the problem has to do with illegal mining. The problem has to do with illegal mining.
Clarify something for me.
Randy, let me explain. I started the introductory remarks by giving you the breakdown of the various, if you like, protected areas. According to Forestry Commission, they have 266 forest reserves, okay? Created under Cap 157, 1927, Forestry Act. Then they have 22 forest reserves proposed. So if you like, we can say 288 forest reserves, kind of in Ghana. Then they have 21
so for
wildlife.
those of you watching, you can follow it on the
Yes,
screen.
so they have 21 wildlife sanctuaries. And I'm saying under the 21 wildlife protected areas, they've listed 7 national parks, 6 forest reserves, resource reserves, 6 resource reserves, 2 wildlife sanctuaries, 1 street nature reserve, because it's only one I can mention in Kojai, and then 5 wetlands. They've also sent me on WhatsApp right now the details. So, for instance, the 5 coastal wetlands are Keta Lagoon Complex, Songo, Sakumono, Densu Delta, and Muni Pomazi.
Sakumono is gone.
Owabi is also an inland Ramsar site. Then it says 1 street nature reserve established at Kojai primarily for scientific purposes. Okay, where they get these herbs for those herbal medicine kind of. I'm sure the Mampong Medical Center, they do a lot of stuff there. And then it says 6 game production reserves. Here, other compatible form of land use is permitted. So, Bele, Kalakpa, Shai Hills, Bia, Ankasa, and Asin at Tandaso. 7 national parks, totally protected. That's the word they use. Totally protected. So, under no, circumstance, do they allow any form of human activity apart from what is, done to protect it. So here...
Does the 7 include Achimota?
No, hang on, let me read them. It says Mole, Dija, Bui, Bia, Chabobo, Nini, Shushian, and Kakum. Save other fine details for them when they appear on your show next week Thursday, because I will not be here. Then total area of Ghana's wildlife protected areas is approximately 5.6% of Ghana's land mass. And then that's about 1.4 million hectares. So this is the data from Forestry Commission as to the state of play. So for them, there's a distinction between what is forest reserve, what is wildlife protected areas, and then the various categories under them.
Right.
Now let's come to mining. Randy, I've been saying this severally, that there's no law in Ghana which says that mining is banned in forest reserve. You will not find any law which says that mining is banned in forest reserve. Okay? In other words, the current law or regulatory framework we have allow some form of mining. Now, as we speak, some mining activities are taking place in forest reserves. Now, I'm understanding them now. Forest reserves, not the 21 wildlife protected areas. Some forest reserves lawfully. Lawfully, by that means that Forestry Commission has allowed them. Minerals Commission has processed mining leases, taking them through all the requirements under the law. ministers have signed, because some of them go back as far back as 1940. So the best example is Ghana bauxite, okay, which was first discovered during the First World War, 1914. Proper mining started in the 40s. So it means that over the past 80 years, at least 80 years now, colonial rule, we've been mining lawfully in forest reserve. It didn't start now. Lawfully in forest reserve. Essentially or primarily, the bulk of Ghana bauxite concession is within the forest reserve. There, they follow all the protocols. So, for example, I'm advised by Forestry Commission, you plant 3 times what you take. Okay, this kind of offset and all those things. So they do that. They follow strict protocols. Another example is Newmont Achin. So I just came to meet Honorable Suhini in the office. Sorry, in the studio here. I heard his position. So we're going to throw a challenge to, not a challenge, we're going to invite the Parliamentary Committee on Mines and Energy and Lands and Forestry. I'll arrange with Newmont to take them to Newmont Achin, because part of their concession is in the forest reserve. And then I will take videos, pictures, and perhaps we'll come along with journalists to come and see how mining has been done in forest reserves, like Newmont Achin, how the various rules and protocols have been followed and reclaimed. And it will amaze you. Now, in the era of technology, digitization, there are examples of before and after. So, for instance, I can today show you how Buin was looking at. Okay, like before Cardinal started the resettlement, which they finished now. We can show you the 2 photographs and all those things. So Newmont Achin, yes. And then Chirano Mines, which was then under Red Bag, later King Ross, now Asante. They are also forests. Okay? And they also, so Newmont, Ghana bauxite, and what do you call it? Asante Gold, Chirano. They have been lawfully permitted, and they follow all the requirements by Forestry Commission. So I want to believe that Honorable Suhini and the other, his colleague that left your show, will take them there. Then they will understand the situation. They need more information, but be that is may, if after going through all that, they still feel personally that, because you see, there are some people who even feel that when a child is, let's say, 15 years, and the person is raped, let's say by armed robbers, not even by a close family person or whatever, by armed robbers, they shouldn't do abortion. There are some people, that's their religious belief. But I know Ghana law allows that, okay? And when it's a threat to the health of the mother, under certain conditions it's allowed, okay? There are some people feel strongly that even if somebody is raped, so an armed robber comes to your house and rapes a girl of 14 years, and the lady becomes pregnant. While some people think that, oh, circumstances like this, they should abort, there are some people who say no. Maybe the father will allow, and maybe the father for religious reasons will even say no. Okay, so we can take them to the Achin mine, we can take them to Awaso, we can take them to Asante, and they will still come back and say, yes, it's being done properly, but we still think no. I mean, you can call them extremists if you like, pardon my language. But hearing Honorable Suhini and then the MPP guy, I think the Kwadaso MP, you realize that all that they were talking about is that they claim we are not there yet. The protocols, perhaps, in, if you like, the advanced countries, that these things are done, like the Great Barrier Reef and all those areas, he thinks that either we don't have it or the system in place is weak. But I want to take them to Newmont Achin and then Chirano so that they will see how it's being done. And then when they come back one day, you ask them whether what they saw there, and I would like you to join. So this is just setting the scene. Then after that, I'll tell you my personal view.
So before you go to your personal view, will their position not be enforced and reinforced by the disclosure that you've made to us from the Forestry Commission? That as we speak, the Forestry Commission itself has recognized that there is illegal mining occurring in 34 forest reserves. Illegal mining.
38.
38 forest reserves.
That has taken place.
Yes.
Hang on, Randy. They said they have documented among the 266 or if you like 288, the record shows that 38 were affected by illegal mining.
Yes.
Randy, Mincom and Forestry Commission go to areas that are lawfully permitted. So I'll plead with you as to whether the 38 is still going on, they've been able to stop it or not. Let's reserve that for Mr. Brown to come and answer next week Thursday on 38. Because if I tell you here that it's still going or it's not going or they stop it, I'll be lying to the public. Let them answer that. No, I can speak to Newmont Achim.
No, what I'm
hang on. I can speak to Chirano.
Yes.
I can speak to Awaso. Because those are the ones that mining is lawfully permitted. And then they do the offsetting and making sure that they plant 3, 4, 5 times that. But if I sit here and tell you, oh, this 38, is it still going or it has been stopped? I'll be lying to you. I'll bring them here next week for them to come and answer that.
No, I appreciate what you're saying. But for many of those who are watching us, they are watching the CEO of the
Minerals Commission. Yes.
Which is supposed to be the regulator for mining in Ghana.
Yes.
Now, the regulator for mining in Ghana speaks about responsible mining by large-scale mining companies in forest reserves. There's data
like what Newmont is doing at Achim.
Yes, but there's data which he has put out which suggests that there has been or there is unlawful mining in 38 forest reserves.
Yes.
Obviously, from what you're saying, this is not something that the commission is even aware of.
No, we are aware of many of them because these things are brought to our attention either by public-spirited individuals, journalists, or anybody who has chanced upon it. And for example, if I get information right now that there is some kind of activity going on in a forest reserve, okay, quickly I'll pass it on to the Forestry Commission that we've picked this intelligence or this information has come into, I mean, somebody has just told us this, so let your people go. Because you see, you cannot enter any forest reserve in Ghana unless Forestry Commission allows you. It's the same thing. You cannot enter any mining area. No, forget about even Forestry Commission. You can't just get up and go to Goldfields or Newmont or any area where mining is taking place unless Minerals Commission allows you. Even the mining company, unless you're a worker there or you're providing a service, anybody who wants to come there, you need permission of the Minerals Commission. Apart from Minerals Commission, those who can go there unfettered access is Ghana Geological Survey, EPA, and Water Resources Commission. So if you are not from Water Resources Commission, Environmental Protection Agency, Ghana Geological Survey, and Minerals Commission, okay, even the Ministry of Lands and Natural Resources, if they want to go to a mine, I will have to arrange that, okay? And what I want you to understand, because the information I get from Forestry Commission is that what is leading to the public outreach, okay, is the illegality. That many of the things that are taking place there are mining activities they have not permitted. That they have not permitted, unlike the Newmont, Achim, Ghana Bauxite, and co. So we need to separate the two. So what am I trying to tell you? Rani, let us distinguish between what is lawfully allowed and what is illegal. The problem is the illegality. Then two, I have just been educated that as for some areas, no matter what, they will not allow you. Even if you have trillions of dollars there. Those are the wildlife protected areas. I didn't know until this morning because for me, I thought a reserve is reserve. But I knew of Ramsar site and co. So we should distinguish between what is lawfully being permitted and what, according to Forestry Commission, are people who have entered the forest illegally. As to what is driving that, they have to answer. Is it the case that they don't have the men, they don't have the resources, or whatever reason or so? Because we know, for example, there are cocoa farms in forest reserves. Okay, people have farm and co. We know, for example, people built in Sakuman or Ramsar site. So remember, the Interior Minister, formerly Greater Accra Regional Minister, started some process to stop them. So they will be in the better position to answer what caused the 38 to be degraded, whether they are still there or they are not there. I can speak to those who have been permitted lawfully because Minerals Commission people can enter Newmont Achim and go to areas they are mining. They don't need to inform Forestry. Okay? So, hang on.
Yes.
So that is it. Now, the question now is, beyond all these 288 Forest Reserve, what is being done lawfully or what is being permitted, what is being an illegality, and then areas that even if a leaf falls, you have to pass by and go, people are armed to the teeth. Then the bottom line, the question now is, even areas that are lawfully permitted, is this something we should do? Should we change the policy and say, okay, the ones we have given already, they are grandfathered, and that there should be no more permitting or authorization whatsoever, irrespective of whether it's a forest reserve or whatever? That's a decision as a nation we should take. Do you understand?
But as we speak, is there any obstacle to the Minerals Commission licensing mining in a forest reserve?
Whether there's any obstacle?
Is there any obstacle? Do you have a situation where there's an application and you cannot grant it?
Yes, because Forestry Commission will have to allow you.
But that's the law.
Yes.
Do you have a problem with that?
Pardon me?
Do you have a problem with that?
Well, I will not say I have a problem with it. If there is any issue, then I already have to engage them. So, for instance, if somebody brings an application and it falls within the 266, we'll tell you no. Because, you see, we have superimposed all these areas on our mining cadaster. So the moment you come and we plot, we can tell you straight away that it's a forest reserve. Go to Forestry Commission. We will not touch it. Okay? If by following their protocols, their rules, they will allow you, that's okay. There's no way Minerals Commission will get up and start anything. Unless Forestry Commission says, okay, for this one, maybe it's degraded or for whatever reason will allow you. But Randy, so that's the position.
No, explain this for me. Are you suggesting that an application for a mining concession, once it falls within a forest reserve, is within the ambit of the Forestry Commission?
So let me explain to you.
Yes.
So let's say you,
Yes.
Randy Company Limited,
Yes.
you submit an application online for a permit authorization to undertake mining activity. The first thing we'll do is to plot the application on our mining cadaster. In the first phase, to determine whether it's free or not. If it's not free, we'll tell you, sorry, it's somebody's property. But
what is a mining cadaster?
Oh, the mining cadaster is basically the system that holds, if you like, the entire area of Ghana.
Okay.
Which shows where mining is taking place, where there are pending applications, and areas that are free. That is basically
it's like the mining map of Ghana.
If like the whole Ghana.
Yes.
The whole Ghana. But we call it mining cadaster because within the cadaster you can know areas that have licenses. Okay? When granted, when they are, the duration. Then areas where there are pending applications, areas that are potentially free, and then areas that fall within all these areas. Okay? So when we check and realize that it's a forest reserve, we'll tell you we can't move an inch.
Okay.
So because you have to go to Forestry Commission. You understand? So if Forestry Commission allows you, that means that they have deemed it fit that 15 square kilometer or 10 square kilometer, they think.
So when you go to Forest Commission and they say yes, what
if
then
they say
happens?
yes, you come back to Minerals Commission.
That's the clarification.
Because in the forestry letter to Minerals Commission, they will have to state categorically and say they have no objection to you considering the application.
Okay.
And then we will go through all the various processes and then take it. You understand?
So have you received such?
We get a lot.
No, I mean there's no objection from the forest.
We get a lot. We get some. Some too, they said no. Some too, they'll tell you is within these so-called 21 areas. For example, there's no way they will give you a right to go to Kojai, which is a street nature reserve, the only one we have, or any of these, or Shy Hills Game Reserve, which I'm told is a reserve area. Now, Randy, let me tell you. This is basic information. I got educated. I knew of some, but then I got educated in more details this morning when I spoke to Brown. As I said, I'll bring them tomorrow. Then you can ask them other issues. Now let's come to the main issue. Should we allow mining in forest reserve? Randy, if you ask me personally, I would say yes and no. And let me explain. Randy, and you remember, as Minerals Commission, one of our mandates is to formulate and recommend policies to government.
Yes.
Okay? And I believe that some form of mining should be allowed. We will not be able to finish today. We will continue. If I'm available, I'll come with the other time. The question is this. I think that what we have been doing to ourselves, or what we have not done properly as a nation, is that, as I said, since 1940, we've been having mining in Awaso, okay, for bauxite. The discovery was done in 1914. Mining is taking place lawfully in Chirano, area, the forest reserve, and then part of Newmont's concession in Achim. Why don't we, and this is what I think that fortunately we have an institution that has the know-how. Why don't we look for money and give it to Ghana Geological Survey Authority, if like government explorer? They go out there and carry out a detailed survey of all these forests, because they have the capacity to do it, okay? Or even bring private person, whatever. I mean, the state should find a way and do it. Already, we've been advised the 21, no. So take out the 21. The 288. We spend some resources and map them and do a detailed study of all the 288. Then now we sit down as a nation and say that, look, and then we get proper professional advice. It's just like the way when you are sick, that you go to 3-4 different doctors and different labs. Then they will tell you that, look, option A is to take the tumor. When it gets to, we will not advise at this stage because of you have some underlying conditions, or because of this. So let's do some chemotherapy or radiation therapy. Or this one, look, if you don't take it out, you die. Or this one, even we don't have the technology, go outside if you can afford. It's the same principle I'm talking here. So I prefer we do the mapping extensively. Because, I believe strongly that people don't have information. People are just saying anything because of the outrage they see and the way people are misbehaving. But be that it may, you can still be very well educated and still feel strongly that in spite of all the education and understanding I have, I don't want it. Like this abortion thing. That despite that the person has been raped, I still think that we shouldn't allow it. The Catholic position those days, I don't know whether they've still starting their stand. To the extent that they will say that they don't even allow divorce. I don't know whether it's still the case. Whatever the case is, you see. So you had Ireland and is it Chile and co those days. Just like some countries say, if you don't vote, it's a crime. I think Australia also, or Chile. I don't know whether they still maintain the law. So do the mapping and then come out and say, okay, out of the 266, 50 are well endowed with all kinds of minerals. But having gone through the mapping and sat down with the forestry officials who are experts, and you brought all the experts, out of the 50, 20, even though the minerals are there, they are the headwaters of water bodies. So we shouldn't allow them, or else when we allow, the water bodies are gone. So then 50 has a lot of resources out of the 288. Let's say 20 headwaters of water body. So you now ring-fence and perhaps add them to the 21 and say these 20 under no circumstance should we allow. Okay, let's say the remaining 30, what do you do? Now you have discovered that out of, let's say, the remaining 30 that is left, after you have taken out this headwaters one, 10, the nature of the ore bodies is underground, deep-seated. You will not touch the surface. Okay? That is where my personal view will come in. And I'll recommend it to any government any day. It's up to the government to make a final decision. That where you've done thorough mapping and the gold or any other mineral is deep-seated, when you not touch the surface. Just like you go to Johannesburg and you see thousands of tunnels and then buildings on top there. Okay, people have even finished mining. It's not that the Zamazamans are entering and then doing illegal mining, those Zimbabwe guys, and blowing things up. Okay, maybe they should have covered it or whatever. You see, then you now say, okay, the whole body is deep-seated. It doesn't affect the headwaters of any water body and all those things. So we should license them and get them regulated properly, like Newmont Achim, Asante Gold, Chirano, or Ghana Bauxite. and have a certain kind of sharing formula. So it is if you are allowing it, if it's 10 square kilometer, you do an offset of 50 square kilometer somewhere, you pay the forestry commission some kind of money. I mean, we can put a whole price on. You see, that is what we have not done. You go and read the report of Carmichael Coal Project in Queensland. Then you say these 10 will allow it. And Randy, that is the issue we'll be faced with in Savannah region. Let nobody deceive himself.
Okay.
Savannah region, where my minister comes from. Okay?
So
and
hold on.
Hang on. No, I'll just give you excepts.
Yes.
My minister comes from Savannah. He's from Damango.
We won't have time.
You wait. Just to wrap up.
We need to.
And then the presidential candidate of NDC also comes from Boli, that area. Unfortunately, I'm using the word unfortunately because people get a bit, tense when you mention forest reserve. The Boli Savannah situation is exactly what I'm describing. And it is the bitter truth, it's a hard truth, we need to deal with it now. So you go to some areas of, like areas called like Waka Waka, Boli. I know by virtue of the fact that I had a regulatory body. Randy, there are several thousands of small-scale miners, as we speak, working underground. Underground.
Legally or illegally?
Oh, and some have, if it's forest reserves, it's illegal. Okay? But there are some small-scale areas that we've permitted, and they have licenses like Tinga, Dakrupe. But there are some areas that are forest reserve. And I'm told they've got in there, and they go down, go and break the rocks, okay? Take it out and take it to their processing plant and process. Several thousands of them, they are working quietly.
Illegally.
Illegally because they've not been permitted. It is not an issue now because I keep telling you the situation in the north is a sharp departure from in the south. You see, in the south, you have this Brim, Pra, and Cobra and Co. Where people, yes. That is not so. That's why we have to be careful about the black water, which we are protecting. I mean, the military go there a lot to flash people. But Savannah, many of those places is all deep-seated. So, shouldn't we be allowing small-scale miners, for example, to do underground mining so that we regulate them like the way we've done for Achim, Chirano, Achim, Chirano is underground, and then Achim is about to go underground. So that we regulate them properly.
But what's stopping you from doing that?
Well, because we don't allow small-scale mining forest reserves for now. For now, it's just a large scale. For now, but they are there. And before you realize, Randy, we are Ghanaians and we know how we behave. Before you realize, you'll be dealing with 1 million people who are working underground, or 500,000 people who are working underground in areas that ordinarily you have allowed. And I'm saying this because, Randy, when we permitted...
But you will be blamed.
No, not that we'll be blamed.
Because it started and you are looking on.
No, it is the ostrich in us. Not that we are looking on. It is the ostrich in us that has... And that's how we behave as a nation. When they started pulling down structures in the Ramsar site, when the regional minister, my darling, started putting down interior minister, what was our reaction? Oh, I'm mature. I spend money, can you be and all those things. You understand that? A lot of things are going when you start and that kind of thing.
But that's not an excuse.
Wait, that's not an excuse. Yes. So you must get the information properly and plan now. That's my suggestion. Because I'm seeing it. I don't want to behave like what we saw in 1989, where small scale was lawfully permitted. So our venerable Kofi Ansah, who was the CEO, okay, when they started the World Bank reforms, because we were finding our gold and diamonds in Togo. So when we sold off all those mines that were once run by Ghanaians, Takwa, Obua, Prestia, Dunkwa, Continental, because we mismanaged and like those Gihok family, Ghanaians and Co. Then the World Bank and Co. advised that, look, legalize this small scale thing. That started even before the British came. So we started with small scale gold law. Kofi Ansah Dems and Co. were running Minerals Commission. Akila Kwasoya was the board chairman and Co. And then the advice was that let's do it properly. Then they designated areas they call blockade areas. So they said government should make money available to geological survey for us to do geological investigation. Okay? Nobody took it serious. And then let me use this account term. Accra, when they are told that it's about barely 5% chance of success. Okay? So you're talking about just about 5 regions: Ashanti, Eastern, Central, Western, which includes now Western North and Upper East. These are the areas Kofi and Co open offices just to manage the small scale. Barely 1,500,000 people. When you say that time, they will tell you, I mean, right from the Rawlings era, and it's all successive government. Oh, Guinea Wen. Oh, schools under trees. Oh, hospitals. This thing, how sure are you? Nobody paid a heed. So we sat down for 30 years. 30 years. Then enter technology. We change the architecture of everything. So 5 regions, Randy, I'm grappling with small-scale activities in 13 regions. Except Uti, where I come from, Volta, and Greater Accra. Even Uti, we are seeing discoveries of gold. There's gold in Rara, under the water. It's just that it's not like oil. And under they will do it. So they said, Nana, this thing, I said, no, we cannot allow it. So now you're talking about 13 regions supporting 3 million livelihoods, direct and indirect. Randy, you can't go to Takwa, Obuasi, Diaso, where the transport minister comes from, Upper West Danger, that area. Even now, Boli, okay, Tinga and all those things, and go and talk about anything outside mining. You understand that? The focus will be on how you do it properly. And Randy, the hard truth is this: if most people don't know, I'll say it. Managing small scale is now a critical aspect of our campaign issue. Let nobody deceive himself.
When is that campaign issue?
When I say campaign issue, no party can go to this election without telling these 3 million people who depend on small scale mining in these 13 regions. You're talking about what, 10% or so of the population, and not go and talk about how you manage small scale properly. It's a fact, and the figures are growing. In about 2-3 years, you talk about 5 million people. Okay? So if you ask me, I will strongly recommend that where there are deep-seated ore body, for example, like gold, in forest reserve, not the 21 wildlife protected areas, we should allow it.
So for those who don't understand, when you say deep-seated ore...
Oh, for example, the only way you can go and mine it is to sink a shaft. Either a decline or just sink a shaft, perhaps 100 meters, 300 meters. Obuasi is about 1 kilometer deep. Okay. So maybe 500 meters or so. You sink a shaft. Okay. So it will not be bigger than maybe the size of this studio or something. Okay. You understand that?
And small scale has the capability to do that.
They have the capability, and that's what people don't know. There are a lot of lawful small scale underground. If you go to Takwa, everything is underground, small scale. I know of a site that has 3 licenses, 5,000 people are working there. 5,000, you heard me.
And
they are permitted, they have the license.
They're doing underground.
Yes, they have the license, they have the EPA, they have the Chief Inspector's Operating Permits. RMG site. There is underground, an area that was formerly under Gold Fields. They are working underground. Takwa, everything is underground, except those 2 large scales. Takwa and then Iduaprim. Those are huge open pits.
Okay.
But overwhelmingly, all the small scale activities in Takwa is underground. Okay. Right. So I would recommend strongly that where the only way you can reach the ore body is to sink a shaft. Okay. Which will allow it. The forest is still there. Remember, don't allow processing in the forest. Take the ore out the forest and go and process.
So we'll come back to and now discuss your position on this in detail. And
let me underscore this. These are my personal views, born out of experiences over 20 years.
Well,
hang on.
Yes.
Not the position of government, because my duty is to advise government. It's up to them to take it or leave it.
Yes.
But whatever I'm telling you now is my personal view, and also what is lawfully happening.
The personal views of the CEO of the
Minerals Commission. Okay. That's my personal view. Because I may even constitute my huge team at Mincom, and they'll say, boss, this one we disagree also. Okay? So you don't force anything on 400 staff. Okay? It's all Kenya.
You need your
Oh, there are a whole lot of. I mean,
That's
for instance, if the chief inspector of mines says he has to close down a mine now, I cannot stop him.
Yeah. Okay.
Because he has done the assessment and says this is so dangerous. It's not the one that I'll issue a stop order, or I say, oh, this one I'm giving you a fine. Repair this 1 week. I come and check. But maybe the way the rainfall is, your tailing dams is weak, whatever, or for some reason. What I'm seeing now, there could be a collapse or there could be an accident. I'm closing you down.
Right.
I, CEO, cannot stop the chief inspector of mines.
Okay.
What he will do is to take me through the reasons why he wants to do that. And he will just close down the mine.
All right.
Because he's the chief inspector of mines, he's the chief inspector of explosives. That's how it works there. I mean, administrative and other issues, we can overrule them. But where your inspector comes to tell you that this is like the generals telling you, all the generals telling you that we shouldn't go to this war. Clearly, you have lost it if you decide to proceed.
Okay.
Unless you want to replace all of them.
Okay.
Okay, so Randy, this will spend, if you like, the whole of July.
Right.
Yes.
Okay. So we'll continue. We'll continue.
Have you learned something? Have you learned something?
I always learn.
Yes. So it is not, I want to believe that, look, let's educate Ghanaians. Let's give them all the information from Afghanistan to Zimbabwe.
Yes.
And let us decide as a nation. So you see, the president of Kenya listened. He says, okay, I'm stepping the thing down and consult the youth.
Well, unfortunately,
but the problem with us is that
they are marching
we do a lot of things here with emotions. Okay, and when something happens, oh, stop it. That is not to say, I'm not saying that we shouldn't hold public institutions or government or persons accountable. Yes, as a boss of Minerals Commission, you have to hold me accountable by my mandate. That's not what I'm running away from. No, I'm not saying that, but I'm saying have the information, have the facts before you make any comment. Do you understand? If you still, after getting information, you still stand by. I mean, journalists get sued. Later on, they said, we are retracting, we are apologizing. It is different to say, oh, I wanted to talk to the person, he refused, so I went to the press. And then you get sued. Later on, you are ordered retract and apologize. So we got to be patient. And now we are doing a lot of public education, so people are beginning to understand us. Get the information, then you can still decide.
All right.
So the MP, I'll take him there, Honorable Suini and Co. Okay. We'll take him there. And then, because his point was that, together with the Quadaso MP, was that they believe things are weak.
Yeah, because when they look at the 38.
Yeah, so go and look at Achim, and then when they come back, ask him whether what he saw in Achim.
No, but you must take them to the 38 because that's also a failure of regulation.
Well, when you take them to the 38, then when we come back, then you can ask him, Honorable, should we allow underground mining in forest reserve, let's say for small scale?
Okay, that then becomes a different conversation. All right, so thanks Martin for joining me once again. I will continue next week. Up next.